Okay, it's 5 o'clock. We'll call the meeting of the Plan Commission for September 20th, 2022 to order. First item is to approve the minutes of the August 16th, 2022 meeting.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. On to number 2, public hearing for the discussion of possible action on amending the specific implementation plan at 900 South 25th Street to allow for the removal of the gate to Buteo Cove. Who would like to come speak first? Please, when you speak, give us your name and address, and also please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
All right, so my name is Stephen Severson. My address, I don't live in the city of Wausau, I live in the city of River Falls. I'm the Director of Operations for Penker Properties. Our property owns and manages Towering Pines located on South 25th Street in the city of Wausau. I've read the letters from the homeowners living on South 21st Street, and I want to assure them that we are on their side. We agree, and it's our preference that the gate be installed and used as intended when the apartment complex was built. I share in their concerns about the safety of the people who live in this area. Earlier this year, a pedestrian was struck and killed at the intersection of South 25th Street and Town Line Road. Her name was Ashley Marie Henley. She was 33 years old. Our tenants use the roadway daily to walk their dogs and other recreational activities. They deserve to have the safe and reliable access to their home. They deserve the same consideration for their safety as the homeowners who live on South 21st Street. Is the city concerned for their safety as well? The gate was installed when the property was developed to allow access for emergency vehicles because the city knew that the condition of South 25th Street was inadequate when the property was built. But nothing was done about the road then, and now, more than 10 years after being built, the road still hasn't been fixed, and it is still a concern for fire and emergency services. In the spring of this year, a portion of 25th Street was washed away from heavy rain and was closed. Because of the road closure, our tenants weren't able to fully utilize the road, and the gate was open with the approval of the city. Why didn't the city require the developers to pave the road if they knew this was a safety concern? We have done everything we can to help facilitate an agreement between the city and the township, but despite the fact that everyone seems to agree that the condition of the road is a problem, no one seems to want to take responsibility or initiative to fix it. The city has repeatedly placed the responsibility for the road on the township. It is true that the roadway lies outside city limits and therefore is the responsibility of the township. Legally, the township is responsible for maintaining the road, but logically, it makes absolutely no sense for them to do so. The city has collected over $1 million in property taxes from Penker Properties since we purchased the property. Yet they expect the township, who does not benefit from our taxes nor from the improvement of the road, to shoulder the cost. When one considers that the city could and would likely will annex that section of the township sometime in the future, it becomes obvious why the township wouldn't want to pay for the roadway. Still, despite no benefit to the township, they offered to share the cost of fixing the road, paying 60% of the estimated total cost of $300,000 to $400,000, but the city refused. In June, the city held a meeting about the road, and in that meeting they stated that they would assist the township in applying for federal funding. What actions has the city taken to follow up on this commitment? In summary, the gate was removed out of concern for our tenants' safety due to the conditions of South 25th Street. We believe it was necessary to open the gate because after years of literally fighting City Hall, we have seen no progress in getting the road fixed. In fact, in the staff report for this meeting, it is noted that it doesn't appear that paving the road is in the near future plans for the township. Penker Properties would like a commitment from the city of Wausau to find a solution to fix South 25th Street properly, as it should have been done when the property was developed. We would like to know what the city of Wausau is working with the township to secure federal funding, as they said they would. We would like to know what happens if the township is unable to secure federal funding. What commitment is the city willing to make to ensure that South 25th Street is fixed? Lastly, we would like to know what time frame the city is willing to commit to in fixing South 25th Street. I thank you for your time and attention.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this issue? I'll ask for a third and final time. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this issue?
Good evening. My name is Brandon Benzing. I live at 828 North 2nd Ave here in Wausau. I'm the executive director at Primrose Retirement Communities, which is located in the bottom left corner of the map on the screen. Since about the start of the summer, when I took over as the executive director at Primrose, it was brought to my attention right away, and it's brought to my attention throughout the summer of ongoing safety issues for our residents that we take care of at Primrose. The biggest issue that has came to our attention is that residents in our private location where they enjoy to walk their dogs, walk with their friends, do not feel safe doing that in the confines around their homes anymore, simply because of the traffic that is coming through our building. We have it noted that these vehicles that have been driving through frequently are not residents of our community. They are not staff members of our community. They're not family members of our residents or staff members of our community. The biggest problem that we're seeing is not just the intake of vehicles that are driving through our property, but at the aggressive rates and speeds that they are going through there. I've had numerous residents come up to me and state their concerns that they have almost been hit, that their animals have almost been hit while they have gone on the walks due to the traffic coming through there. We have signs posted clearly that states no through traffic through our neighborhood, and that's getting abused on a very daily basis. Now, I won't sit here and place blame that it's residents of the apartment complex or residents of the neighborhood directly behind us, but this is an issue that we think is important. This issue was brought to me too with this gate that got removed as I was going through the approval process myself with the city, with the fire department, and with our corporate leadership to get a gate installed for our own community out of the safety of our residents. I'll end by just saying it's my recommendation that the gate is re-implemented in a safe manner to protect the children that are around our community and other residents and the staff members that I'm personally responsible for at our community. I thank you for your time.
I'll ask for the final time. Is there anyone else who wants to speak to this issue?
Hi, my name is Ruth Ann Masak. I am at 1011 South 21st Street. I am one of the residents on South 27th Street that will recommend to have the gate implemented and brought back. There has been, as noted, a high level of traffic going through at high number of speeds. I agree with the property of Primrose property. Our road is used for people walking their families, their dogs. The residents at Primrose use the road. It went from being a very safe road to a very unsafe road. My last statement is we should not be punished because there is a dispute between the town of Wausau as well as the city of Wausau. So therefore, I am asking that the gate be implemented and returned.
Hi, my name is Derek Nelson, 2106 Potato Cove, which is right beside the gate. Just try to state the facts here, not opinion or anything like that. The facts are that the gate was removed illegally because you're supposed to have a hearing before the gate's removed, is what was understanding. Next is, my children walk up that hill from the bus, and there are cars, motorcycles, and everything else that just raced through there. This did not happen until the gate was removed. The gate was removed for one reason, off of 25th, off of 25th, next to McIntosh, because of frost issues. We came home one day, actually off of vacation, and right here at the top. We came off home from vacation and we saw the gate was removed. We called the city and asked the reason why, and they told us the frosting issues, that's the reason why. Okay. And they said the gate was going to be put back. Okay. We also asked too, because people were driving around the gate, going into the apartments. We don't own the land, but we maintain the land beside of it. We mow it, plant flowers, trying to make it look nice. So they brought rocks or boulders, so they wouldn't drop around it, put the gate up, the gate was disappeared 2 days later. So I say we should put the gate back, have a hearing about why we should remove it, then go from there. Thanks.
Diane Nutter, 919 21st Street, and my husband Greg and I bought our home last August. And we looked for a home for 2 to 3 years before we bought our home. We bought our home knowing that it was on a dead-end street. The gate was there, the ridge is there, making it a more private area. We feel the value of our home is higher because of that great gate and being on a dead-end street, and that is one of the main reasons we bought that home there. I don't know. The gate goes, is the ridge going to go next? I don't know. This is a private neighborhood. It was private, secure, and we feel secure and safe there. But now we've got much more traffic coming through there, and like everybody is saying, it is going through a lot faster than what it should be.
I'm Brittany Haugen. I live at 2105 Buteo. It's the south one, across from the gate. So I see the most of what's going on because I can see a direct line to the apartments. My husband and I moved to the home in 2016. It was marked as a dead-end road. The gate was shut, and it had an emergency access only sign on the gate to Towering Pines. We invested in the property to feel safe and grow our family. On April 27th of this year, the gate separating us and the apartments was opened. 2 stop signs were placed on the street that were temporary. The neighbors on South 21st Street were told that the gate would be temporarily opened due to road construction on 25th. We were told by the city of Wausau, the town of Wausau, and Towering Pines directly. The stop signs were consistently ignored. They were tipped over by people that walked by from the apartments. They were finally just removed from the city. Our quiet neighborhood was then noticeably increased with traffic and noise, especially in the early mornings and late nights. These drivers use the retirement home, the adjacent property, as a pass-through from Town Line Road to the apartments. Then on June 20th, the gate was removed completely off of the wooden hinges. To this day, it still remains absent from the property, which is illegal according to the ordinance. Our neighborhood has felt less safe and less secure for our families. Every day, 2 school buses pick up and drop off over 10 kids in our neighborhood who walk to their homes. 1 bus drops off kids around the curb that's marked Buteo, and it's a blind spot because there's a house there, and you can't see around it, and it pulls up just far enough that you can't see. That then turns around on the other side of the street. We have witnessed cars slamming on their brakes or tailing the bus as it tries to deliver kids safely home. When calling Towering Pines to discuss our concerns, the manager had said that they do not take any ownership to police any of the vehicles that use the gated entrance, nor was it their concern if pedestrians were hit. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old son. Both are boys. They're adventurous, curious, active. We spend a lot of time outside, and it takes one time for that ball to roll into the road and them to chase after it without us watching. We do our due diligence as parents, but according to a study by the psychologicalscience.org, every 2 minutes a child gets hit by a car in the U.S. Getting hit by a car is the 3rd leading cause of death in kids ages 5 to 9. Evidence shows that kids are more likely to get hit by a car that with speeds exceeding 25 miles per hour. Currently, there are no speed limit signs on our road. However, there is a speed limit parallel to the road, which is on McIntosh, and it reads 35 miles per hour. Cars easily can hit 40 miles per hour traveling down from the apartments down to the end of our road. The neighborhood suggests and urges the board to proceed with taking any and all steps to protect our neighborhood. Please reinstall the gate separating Towering Pines and South 21st and keep the gate closed for emergency use only. Thank you.
If there are no further comments, we'll close the public hearing. We'll go on to item number 3, discussion and possible action on amending the specific implementation plan at 900 South 25th Street to allow for the removal of the gate at Buteo Cove. Who's going to take this one? Bill?
I can walk you through the packet. So we have a staff report that just outlines the basic information here that Mount View Estates was developed back in 2009, and it allowed up to 8 buildings with 12 total units. They had 2 driveways off of 25th, and a gated access was available off of Mateo Cove for fire and rescue vehicles. And we included the different letters from Stephen, who had spoke previously as part of the owner rep, and then our area map and some of the letters from the neighbors, a petition as well. And then we have the original resolution that approved the development back in '09. So this came to my attention. I think that they maybe had brought the attention to Public Works when the gate was opened. I didn't know until August of the gate being removed, so we brought it to the owner's attention, and they had requested that they be able to leave it out, and I said this is the process they need to follow by requesting that through Plan Commission, so that's where we are today.
Okay, anyone else? Discussion?
I guess Bill, or was it Public Works that worked with the property owner in April to be able to remove it? Was that a temporary solution, or was it removed with no intention or involving the city? I feel like I'm hearing conflicting information.
Yeah, it was actually open because 25th Street had washed out and became impassable, and the town needed time to put it back to make it passable. I'm not sure when the owners just removed the gate, so at that point, but it does go in its access to a public improved street, you know. And throughout the spring, that street, for years, always has issues, and the town never builds it or improves it. There was a little bit of history on that. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago. We worked with the town. I think Jim Reilly was with the town at that point. We had a proposal that we would share the cost of that 50-50, but the town needs to take the leadership on that because they own that road. They have to apply for the funds. They have to take the lead on that. Same thing happened this past spring with city engineer was working with the town as well. We did say, and we will help them do that, but we can't do it for them. The town needs to take the lead on that, and they have not gotten back to us since spring on that, so, yep.
George, you had a question?
It was partially answered there, but maybe you could be more specific on, Eric, how often does this road go bad? Is it every spring that it needs to be closed off, or a portion of it closed off?
Yeah, I don't know if it closes every spring, George, but but definitely every spring it has issues, and the town has to come back in. It really has no base on it. It needs to be excavated, you know. It has stormwater issues. In the past, the city has gone out to address some culvert issues and stuff out there on our cost. But, you know, just like city streets, we have to take the lead on those and getting those done with federal or state funds. And the township actually has to take ownership of that road and do their process at that point. The city would support, and if they have a plan in place, we'd be happy to bring it before the council to see if the council would be willing to share any costs. But at this point, we haven't heard from the town on that.
I have an observation. I took a drive out there yesterday and drove around the whole area, and I was following a road grader down 25th. I assumed that was a county vehicle. The city wasn't.
Yeah, it was a
out there
county or
grading.
town.
Yeah, town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So do we choose to do action on this?
Well, if I can again, the question before us is just yea or nay to the gate, or whether we're going to have them follow the original plan that was implemented in 2009.
Well, there is a petition. We can approve the change of the specific implementation plan to allow for the removal of the gate, or we can deny the petition to remove.
And it's just that we have no say at all into the condition of the road or what's the action between the city and the town on this issue. It's just, my initial feeling is that you know, they put the gate back in, that it go back to the way it was. I'm having, you know, the thing is and I don't know if we can modify the plan at this point to allow them, in conjunction with the city, that they can reopen it during the spring, working with the city that if the road gets bad again and they need access out of there, that be allowed. I think right now the plan as implemented just says police, fire, and ambulance, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes.
I'd like to see some leeway in there that, you know, if this happens, working with the city, that they can reopen that for a short period of time until that road is passable again.
So is that a motion to amend, and can that be accomplished?
Sure, you can make a motion for anything.
Yeah, just to interject.
Melissa would have to repeat the whole motion to me, though.
Yeah, to interject, if you're wanting to, you know, make a change to the street, or, you know, I think that's outside the property bound. The action is on the specific address of the apartments where the gate was installed on the private property. You know, we have, outside of this commission, which doesn't necessarily have jurisdiction in the right-of-way per se. I mean, we have Capital Improvement Street Maintenance Committee. That's probably more appropriate for those types of decisions, like to work with the town or to do specific action on the streets. I know that's kind of tied into everything that's happening, but this body is really focused on the private property, and which the gate is on, or the gate was on that. So I think that motion would be appropriate, if you could clarify that, because that's taking place on the property. It's not dealing with the right-of-way, if that makes sense.
Sure. Okay. I'm going to make a motion that the gate be reinstalled, and that the property owner and the city will work together at times when the road is impassable to reopen the gate for periods to allow ingress, egress to the other city streets until such time the road can be used again.
With permission.
With permission, yep.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Discussion?
I wonder, is there a way that we can sort of ask CISM to discuss maybe partnering or venturing out to the town of Wausau to see about rectifying the 25th Street?
Yeah, I think we're already in conversations with them. I know Alan, who is our city engineer, has been in contact with them and working with them to help provide them information. It's just they haven't gotten back to us yet on a plan. And so we're in that process, you know, at the staff level right now. But this seems to kind of come up every spring when the road goes bad, and then when things get good again during the summer and stuff, in the winter, everything's fine, and then the spring it comes up again, and there's really not any follow-through. But I think just with that request, sir, I can have Alan reach back out to the town and find out if they have any updates on that, and we could follow up in CISM.
And maybe it's something to address during the good times, because maybe they'll be more open to talking to you.
Yeah, and I do think, you know, I mean, one good thing about having the gate up is that it does keep the focus on the town. I think if the gate does go down, you know, then the town just is never going to look at making improvements to that road. But I do feel that even in an emergency situation, if the road is closed on 25th Street, that the city would go and ask the property owners to open that gate, because those residents need access to a street, so.
And maybe I agree that, like, keeping the gate up would maybe, I don't know, initiate that discussion. and potentially give some motivation to do some action. I don't know if they have regular meetings like we do, and having, public comment that would appear at those meetings to also emphasize how important it is to get that 25th Street fixed and starting that partnership with Wausau. So I think public, comment at those meetings would be helpful as well.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, we have a motion to deny the petition to remove with amendments. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? No? The ayes have it. Thank you. And everyone in the neighborhood, if you would like to, if you're planning on leaving right now, please do so. You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting, but we've got some really exciting stuff.
Way to sell it, Bruce.
Thanks. Never worked.
You can tell they're listening to you.
Yeah. On to item number 4, discussion and possible action designating John Marshall School at 918 Lamont Street as a historic landmark.
I can introduce this one if you want.
Sure.
All right. Just give it a second for everyone to. All right.
You really know how to clear a room.
Yeah, I guess so. No one wants to say. All right. So, this item is back to us from February of this year, where it was tabled by this body. It's the landmark of John Marshall School, which is on the southeast side. The Historic Preservation Commission had previously recommended in favor of the landmarking. They held a public hearing, voted to move this forward. The official process is that it starts in Historic Preservation, then comes to Plan Commission for our review. We actually have slightly different criteria than the Historic Preservation Commission. Those criteria in the staff report really boils down to the public interest and what's best for the public. The Historic Preservation is more about, whether or not it's in fact historically significant and worth saving and worth landmarking. Again, our action is really to weigh in on, is this going to be in the best interest of the city and the general public? So I guess based on that recommendation, staff had recommended approval 6 months ago, and we still do recommend approval to go to City Council. City Council is the final decider on this. They'll take the recommendation from Historic Preservation and the recommendation from this commission, and then make a final decision on whether or not it's in fact landmarked. So since the 6 months, we did reach out to the school district. We've gotten minimal response. They have, I guess, recently sent a correspondence through email. I believe, Melissa, did you hand that out to?
I did.
Okay, so Bruce has a copy of that. We didn't meet and talk about it in detail. The Historic Preservation did take a tour of the building earlier this summer. And they, again, remain in favor of landmarking the school. So the letter from the administration of the school district is, well, let's see here. It just simply says, identifying Marshall Elementary as a historic building would reduce the options available to the school district. That's all that it says. So I guess that's the history that I know in a nutshell. I believe we have several people here from our Historic Preservation Commission to answer any questions, or if you'd like to hear from them.
Sarah?
I guess I would move to approve its designation as a historical landmark. That's my motion.
Is there a second? Dawn seconds. Any questions? Any comments from the members in the audience?
Thank you. I'm Steve Miller. I'm from the Historic Preservation Commission, 4006 Briarwood Avenue. Usually I'm on that side. I'm tonight on this side. I told Mr. Lenz that instead of my hour-long presentation, I would keep this to 2 minutes. As such, Generally, I don't go from prepared notes, but I didn't see teleprompters, so I will just read if you don't mind. I will keep this short. In August of 1982, I was hired at John Marshall School as a teacher. The school was 60 years old at the time, which was young. Time after time during my 16 years as a teacher and a principal of John Marshall School, I realized the importance of that place to our community and our neighborhood. Many thousands of students, including one that's in the audience this evening, was educated at this place, and countless families have returned to the Marshall neighborhood to create a multi-generational school neighborhood communal experience. This school tells the ultimate story of students and families who have passed through its doors. Think about this. In January 1923, the John Marshall Community Club was formed and held its first meeting with 218 members. That's the first year the school was opened. Over the last months, since the commission has voted to landmark, I've had numerous conversations with former school board presidents and board members, teachers, students, current and former mayors and city council members, a member of the Southeast Side Neighborhood Group, the District 1 Alder, members of the John Marshall Centennial Committee, of which I am a member. Every contact, regardless of where they were on this list, offered their support for landmarking. Many of them view landmarking as honoring the school's longevity in the city of Wausau. The historic John Marshall School should be landmarked, it should be honored, and it should be preserved. So with that, I ask you to vote in favor of the Historic Preservation Commission's work and preserving John Marshall Elementary School. And if you'd like to know anything further, I think I'm okay under the 3 minutes, right, Melissa or Brad? Do you want to know who the student is in the audience? Is it okay? Yeah. Andy Brueggemann, who I had as a 7-year-old at John Marshall Elementary, and now I'm very proud to say he's all grown up. He's very successful. and
Did he
I enjoyed-
graduate?
Yes. See, at the time, I was teaching second grade, and it wasn't social promotion for Andy because he did a great job, as did his sister. So thank you for your time. Any questions at all? Okay, thank you.
Can we vote on if he's actually grown up or not?
Yeah. That would be a tough vote. Any discussion from the commission? Okay, the motion is on the floor to approve the landmarking of this property. All in favor, say aye.
Excuse me, just something, we kind of held this in limbo for a while, waiting for something from the school. Did you, and you referenced something, did we hear from them?
Well, sort of, but not officially. We sent them a letter, an email, and offered to have them meet with staff and the mayor, actually, to come in, talk about it. Numerous attempts were made another attempt was made. We called them and let them know of this meeting and said, this is coming up. It's 6 months is running out. This was earlier in the summer. And they were kind of waffling on what to say or what their position would be. And again, there wasn't a formal meeting with the school district other than, this email that just came through here at the last minute. So there was no official talks or debate or discussion. We were hoping to sit down and really have an informal discussion on what it means, what it doesn't mean. I think there's some misconceptions on what actually landmarking does to a property. We're hoping to clarify that with them as well, but that did not happen. So they are aware of, the timeline and the meeting tonight, and we'll follow up with them after this meeting and say that it is going to City Council for final approval in October.
Well, that's presumptive.
It's going to go there either way, unless you table it again. I think the preference is that we take action on it one way or the other. If it's voted down 0-6, it's still going to go to city council on a split vote. So unless you table it again, it will be going there.
Eric, you have a comment?
Nope.
Okay. Andrew?
So, yeah, I was one of those people that, 6 months ago had hoped that there would have been greater collaboration. We've given the school district the opportunity to better understand and provide a more adequate response if they really were against it. And we got the same answer 6 months later, so I'm not opposed to it. And, I appreciate Gary bringing in the big guns, my favorite teacher from elementary school, to sway that opinion. But no, I think very fondly of it. I just, I'm hopeful when we do these things that we have, willing property owners as well as, constituents around that are supportive of it. And we don't really have an active response from the school district that is any different than what they've provided before.
And the landmarking involves only the facade of the building, nothing else. So, shall we try it again? The motion to accept the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We are on to number 5, discussion and possible action on approving a projecting sign at 1506 North 3rd Street in an NMU, a neighborhood mixed-use zoning district. Who has information on this?
I do.
Bill, I think.
Bill.
Thank you. So Krieger's obviously is going through a transition in ownership, thinking almost over a year now. And they're making some improvements to their facade, and one of them is a couple new signs that they show here on the screen. And they've requested a projecting sign over the entrance, so you can see the proposal there. I don't think it's too big. It's 2 by 3 foot and would be over the main customer entry, so staff recommends approval.
Motion and a second by George. Any questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On to number 6, discussion and possible action at the Royal View Estates First Edition plat.
I can take this one if you want. So this is a subdivision plat actually in the town of Rib Mountain, but the city, since Rib Mountain is currently unincorporated, the city actually has what's called extraterritorial plat review, which means we can review subdivision plats within 3 miles of our borders. And this one is basically right at the edge. It's at about 2.5 miles from the city as the crow flies. So it's on the edge and it's on the other side of Rib Mountain. So we didn't see any real impacts to the city in terms of allowing the subdivision. There were some comments made by our Parks Director about looking at an easement for a trail through this subdivision somewhere. This is, I guess, comments for the town to connect the state park land to the to County Road N. They're planning some trails, ultimately, I think, to connect Rib Mountain State Park to 9 Mile, the mountain biking facility out there. So this would be an area where a trail through there would help that connection. So that was their recommendation. It's just a recommendation for the town. I guess as staff, we didn't have any reason to hold up the subdivision plat. So we recommend approval.
Do we need a motion on this?
Yeah, we should take one.
Okay, Dawn makes the motion, Sarah seconds. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. On to number 7, discussion and possible action on the transportation project plat for project 6999-0902, Stewart Avenue, 72nd Avenue, and 48th Avenue.
So this is a DOT project. Construction is proposed to take place in 2024. from 48th Avenue out to 72nd Avenue on Stewart Avenue. This is kind of outlines where the city needs to purchase temporary limited easements, permanent limited easements, and real estate on private property for this street project.
Any questions? Motion by Andrew, second by George. Sarah?
I guess I just had a question about the 150,000. Is that out of the budget? Or it says, well, yeah, 150,000 for the,
For the real estate, yes, yep. And
So-
so this, our share, or our portion of this project is coming out of the TID, and so that would be part of the budget.
Okay.
That is there. Yep.
thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I think I failed to note on all of these that they all go to council on the 11th of October.
Well, not the first two, item number 2 or 3, right?
Not 2 or 3.
Or does the sign go, or that's?
That's done too.
Okay,
Okay,
so,
all right, all the others go on the 11th.
So
I
when
didn't know
will,
if that was a legal thing I had to
when
do.
will the other ones be addressed at council then? Oh, okay. Oh,
Okay, our next meeting date, October 18th. And a motion to adjourn. Dawn makes the motion. Sarah seconds. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Never had an opposed vote for adjournment. Thank you, everybody.